Okay, so we're starting on page 4-43 in the textbook. We're doing an inch part, so we're doing a new part. It's going to be ANSI inches. Say okay. Called lens, and then the description is lens with shield. It's on the bottom of page 4-43. I'm going to do a quick save. Saving it in my projects. Again, I'm calling it lens. Lens with shield. And we're doing a save. Anybody lost? Needing help? I would be very sad if that were the case. At this point. Long day, yes. We're going to start our first sketch on the right plane. So first sketch is going on the right plane. New sketch. All right, we're going to draw two lines. One's going up, so one vertical line, and then we're also drawing a horizontal line, and then we're drawing a little tiny vertical line that's parallel to the first vertical line. So you got three lines going on. Here, here, and here. Little short one here. Now this line, this vertical line, the one on the left, is going to be equal to the horizontal line. Okay? So you're going to add a relation between this line and this line to set them equal. Okay? And then you're going to create a three-point arc like that. And your dimensions are going to be 4-point radius arc. This is 0.4. And this is 2.0. Thank you. Okay, and at this point, it should say fully defined. Is there anybody lost? Needing help? Everybody got their part made? Or their sketch? Does anybody remember the definition of a revolve from that little PowerPoint that I gave you guys? Something that goes around an axis. Right, so we have our closed profile. Now we have to say what our axis is going to be. We can use an existing edge of the part, so we can use this line as an axis. Okay, I'm going to switch to an isometric view so you can kind of watch it when it previews. I'm going to go to the features, and here's our revolve. Okay, so when I select revolve boss base, it's not going to preview anything until I tell it what the axis of revolution is. And I'm going to select this line right here, the horizontal line. And as soon as I do that, it'll preview for me. Okay? Everybody see that? And then you green check to say I'm happy. This is what we got so far. Anybody lost, needing help? Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to shell it out. And when you do a shell, it's kind of like doing a cantaloupe scooper. You're just kind of scooping out. And you can shell it so it's all a single thickness, or you can have varying thicknesses. So you can have some walls thicker than the others. They all don't have to be the same thickness. You can also shell on the outside where it's going to add material and remove stuff, everything in. So that's kind of cool when you're doing plastic parts or you're doing over-molded parts. You can do a shell over it as a way to get it. So the shell tool is right here. All right. Now you can also remove faces, just like that little icon suggests, where you have like an open box. So you click the shell tool, you tell it what the wall thickness you want. In this case, we want a wall thickness of 0.25. And we want to remove this outside face. And notice you can show a preview. So if you click on show preview, it'll show you. And I'm going to switch to wireframe just for a second so you can kind of see. Notice if I don't select a face to remove, it will just shell inside of it, but not remove any face. And sometimes you want to do that and you split the part if you're creating some kind of like box or something that's a plastic part that you're going to mold or something like that. In this case, we're actually going to remove a face. I'm going to remove this front face right here, and this is where you list the faces you want to remove. So I'm going to click on that face, and notice it kind of previews what it's going to look like, and then green check. See that? See how it hollowed it out? Very cool. And I'm going to save it.
If you select the other face, will it shell it all the way through?
Right. So if I shelled both faces, and sometimes you want to do that. In this case, we're going to be adding a hole to the back face. But if I wanted to shell it so this face is also removed, it gives me a rebuild error because that face has too small for the 0.25. Okay, so I got to delete it because remember it was 0.4.
Yeah.
So that's why. Okay, so there's not enough material there, but we're going to be adding a hole in there to open it up. Yeah, we're going to be drilling it. We're going to be putting a counterbore hole in there. Okay, well, I'm going to show you that in a minute. First, we're going to add a neck. So I'm going to select this back small face and go new sketch. And if you see this kind of, this kind of jaggedy, edgy thing going on the screen, that's a graphics cards issue. That's not actually there. It's kind of like a ghosty thing. So if you see it on your model, don't worry about it. Okay? So I've got this new sketch on the small face, and what I want to do is I want to copy this circular edge onto the new sketch. What could I use for that? Any ideas? Convert entities. Convert entities. Ding, 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 ding. So I want to select this circular edge and select convert entities. And that will copy that edge onto the sketch. And see how it copied? And then I just want to extrude it, and I want to extrude at 0.4. So I'm going to do a little tiny extrude of 0.4 for the neck. See that? I'm going to green check, and I'm going to call this next so I know what it is, okay? And I'm going to save it. Anybody lost, needing help? Okay, so the next thing I want to do is I want to add a counterbore hole. And the big mistake that students make is you want to add the counterbore hole on the inside. A lot of students, for whatever reason, they aren't paying attention, they put it on this face. And you want it to be on the coming into the lens, not from the outside. So you want to select this face. And remember, with the hole wizard, you want to select the face first. Otherwise, the hole doesn't always place correctly. So I select that face, and then I select the hole wizard. And
How big do we extrude that little part again? 0.4.
0.4. And I'm on page 4-49. Okay, so this is going to be a counterbore hole. So I select counterbore right here. And it's going to be ANSI inch, hex bolt, 1/2 inch. And I want these sizes through all. So I'm just going to magnify it a little bit so you can kind of see what I want the sizing to look like. And notice on the options, I do not have any of my options checked. That's the other error a lot of students make, is they check some of these options. You don't want to have any of those enabled. Okay, so once you have those settings, so I've got counterbore, ANSI inch, hex bolt, 1/2 inch size, normal fit, and these dimensions, then I'm going to go over to positions, and I'm just going to put one hole right on that origin point. Sure. Everybody good? And then you want a green check. And you see your counterbore. Now, a lot of people want to really kind of inspect the counterbore. So one way you can really see what it looks like is to create a section view of your lens. So if I select the right plane right here in my browser, and then select the section tool here on my heads-up display bar, and then green check, you can really see what it looks like with that counterbore in there. So it gives you a much better idea of what you did.
Can you show the previous, or just before you did the cut, was selected the right plane?
Okay, and when I selected the right plane and then the section view tool. Okay, and then I just green check. Now once you're done, sure. Once you're done with the section view, to untoggle it, you just click it again and that restores your view. Okay, so for the counterbore, I'm going to go edit features so you can look at the sizing again. Okay, you good? All right. All right. Now what we want to do is light bulbs get really hot, especially LED bulbs, and we're going to be putting kind of an LED bulb in there. So we want to put some kind of shield in there for heat. We're going to put it on the right plane. So I'm going to select the right plane for a new sketch. Okay? So I'm on the right plane for a new sketch. Now the sketch is on page 4-51. And I want you to watch me because it's kind of tricky what she does. Alright, so I'm going to zoom in here and I'm going to be creating a sketch. Now the first thing she does is a center point arc. So I select the center point arc tool. Now the big mistake that students make is when you mouse over this edge, it wants to grab that midpoint. See how that midpoint kind of lights up? And you guys, that's like a magnet. You gotta click on it, right? You just have to. It's just like, click me, click me, click me. But then look, she says, do not select the midpoint of that silhouette edge. So when you see that orange point, and I know you just gotta click on it because it's just taunting you, right? But just control the urge with everything you've got. Move your mouse over just a little bit to the right and put the center point there, and then come over to this point and notice it'll light up as a coincident point. And then just draw over and notice how you want it to kind of line up with that center point. So it's offset, all right? And then you want to give it a dimension that's 0.1. And if it says underdefined, like see how mine says underdefined, what you want to do is you want to add a vertical relationship between this point and this point, and then it'll say fully defined. I'm going to turn off my speakers. Okay. Okay. Is anybody lost with this sketch? Now you notice the sketch is open. All it has is a single arc in it. We didn't add any lines or close the profile at all. Anybody lost? Come on, don't be shy, don't be shy. Okay, we're on page 4-52. We're going to do another revolve. Okay, I'm going to go to an ISO view. I want you to watch me because we're going to do what's called a thin feature. And a thin feature means that you have an open profile and you're just adding thickness to that open profile. So it knows that I'm doing a thin feature because it's an open profile. And we want to add a thickness of 0.05, and we want it to be mid-plane, okay, which means that it's going to add thickness to both sides, and then it wants an axis of revolution. If I select, I'm not seeing an axis, right? But if I go view, temporary axes, remember how you can turn on temporary axes? Then I can select this blue line and use that as my temporary axis. And notice it previews for me.
Can you show that one more time?
Which? Showing temporary axis?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you go view temporary axis right here, then you're going to enable the visibility of this blue axis, and you can use that as your axis of revolution.
Okay.
Got it? And and then green check. All right, and then you can turn off your temporary axis because you don't need it anymore. And I'm going to rename this lens connector. And you can see this kind of cool little shield for where the light bulb's going to go. And I'm going to save it. Anybody lost, needing help? Yeah. Stefan?
Yeah.
You lost?
Yeah. Mark did you use?
I used the center point arc. Sorry?
How did you position the center point?
Yes, I did it with the 3.1, so I could figure out the center.
So you're gonna come over here, select center point arc. Drop down. Center point. Center point. Okay. And then you're gonna select your center point. Just like right there on the bench, and then select the center point. That's not the. Oh, that's not the center point. That one is right again. Yeah, right there. Right there. And then just. Okay, there you go. Just like that. Good. And then. Yeah, point one. Okay. And then green check. Yeah, and then you're going to add a vertical constraint between these 2 points and points. Okay. Who else is lost? Anybody else lost?
Okay, we're now on page 4-53, and what we want to do is we want to create a little buffer on our lens for when it's coming into our flashlight cover. So what we're going to do is we're going to use an offset entities. So I'm going to select this outside circular edge. So I'm going to highlight that edge. Everybody got it? And I'm going to, actually I got to start a new sketch. Sorry, my bad. I want to start a new sketch. I want to put it on the front circular face right here, starting a new sketch. So I just selected this front lip for my sketch. I'm going to select this outside edge, and I'm going to go offset entities. And I want it to be bidirectional, meaning I'm going to create a line on either side at the same time, and I'm going to give it a 0.25 distance. And see how it previews? And you're going to need green check. So notice I've created 2 lines, one here and one here. And it's 0.25 on either side of the line I selected. And then I'm going to do an extrude that comes out 1/4 inch. And green check. And I'm going to call that lens cover. And save. So now what I want to do is I want to put in like a thin piece of acrylic, that's, you don't want to use glass because glass breaks or shatters and it's going to be a camping flashlight, so it's got to be a little bit of rough and tumble. So I want to put in like a thin piece of acrylic. So I'm going to select my front plane because notice my front plane's behind that extrusion we just did. And I'm going to say new sketch. And what I want to do is I want to use that front circular edge here and copy it into the sketch. Okay? So I select this front circular edge and I'm going to do convert entities. Remember, I put this sketch on the front plane so it's behind this extrusion. So notice where that circle lands. It lands behind the extrusion. Do you see that? Anybody lost, needing help? Makeda.
You click the outer circle and what?
I click the inside circle and then convert entities. Okay, and then I'm going to do another extruded boss face, but this is going to be thin. It's just going to be 0.1. Okay, now you look at it and it's like, well, no light's going to get through there, right? Because it's all solid. This part is not in the book. What I want to do is I want to make this face semi-transparent. So when I put the light bulb in there, I can see the light bulb and I can see the light. All right, so this is not in the book, so you're going to want to watch me. So this is the shield, so I'm going to rename it shield. Okay. And I'm going to, when I click on it, remember I've got that, come on, that appearance. Okay, so I'm going to click on that and I just want to select the shield because I don't want the shield to be semi-transparent. I don't want the whole lens to be semi-transparent. So I select it. And then I can pick a different color. And notice if I select on Advanced, I want to click on the Advanced tab, and I want to click on where it says Illumination. And notice that I can set transparency. Okay? And I'm going to set a color, and I could set it like a light blue. Okay? So notice the more transparent it gets, see that? See how I can see through it? And then I'll green check. See that? And then if I wanted to add a color to the outside of the lens, like make it painted car, like make it a candy apple red, like that. See that? See how it looks? Sorry?
It looks so black.
Yeah, looks so much better on my screen. Oh, let me change it to something better. Still yucky. Okay, you can see how it's kind of see-through though, right, in the middle? Okay. Oh, my resolution on my screen is so much better than what I'm seeing on the projector. Oh. And I'm going to save it. Okay, so that's your lens with shield part. If you need help doing does anybody want to see how to create transparency again?
Yes.
Yeah? Okay, so what I did, I'm gonna, and notice right here, show display panel, right here there's a column for transparency. I can undo it. And I can also remove appearance, so everything's all the same appearance. Okay, I come over to the shield and I select on appearance. And I highlight just the shield, because that's the only thing I want to be semi-transparent. I want to make sure that I select the Advanced tab. Okay, I pick a color that I want. In this case, I picked cyan. And then I went to Illumination, and I set my transparency amount. And I normally set my transparency amount somewhere between 0.80 and 0.95, somewhere in there. And then I just left click so I can kind of preview it. And then I green check if I'm happy with it. See that? Okay. And then I save. Yes, Harvey.
What was the number you put for transparent amount?
I put 0.90, but I said if you do 0.85 to 0.95, you're usually pretty good. And it's kind of subjective. It's whatever you feel cool with. Okay? Everybody good? Okay, so we're in lab. You got 6 parts to do. That's all the homework for the week. So you got 6 parts to do for the whole week. So you don't have to feel like, oh my God. The other part, I just gave it a color. You might want to do the transparency on the shield simply because when you put the light bulb in there, it's nice to see it. Yeah. And we're going to be doing the bulb on Thursday. Okay?